Gail Robertson, and I'm a museum educator at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum. Welcome to the Soar Together at Air and Space family program. Every month we have different themes for families to explore through activities, live events, videos, and games. And this month's program is all about people who face challenges and push the boundaries to fly and take to the skies. One important person in history is Bessie Coleman, who 100 years ago became the first African American and person of Native American descent to get an international pilot's license. And today we are going to speak with Bessie Coleman, portrayed by her great niece, Gigi Coleman. We're going to learn about how she was able to get her pilot's license and fly despite the limited opportunities for people of color and for women. Welcome, Bessie. Thank you for being with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me, Ms. Robertson. I am so happy to be a part of the Smithsonian Institution and part of the Family Soar Day, and I am soaring high.
Well, I wanted to start off by asking you about your family and where you grew up.
Okay, well, I grew up in Atlanta, Texas. At the age of 2, my father moved us from Atlanta to Waxahachie because it was an industrial town and Daddy believed in making money. He built a 3-bedroom house, purchased 4 acres of land, and it was a wonderful place to live. Now, at the age of 5, I started school. Because of the Jim Crow laws, separate but equal, I had to walk 5 miles to the nearest school. Now, my mother and dad had been married 17 years, and my mother was a domestic. She worked as a homemaker for Mr. and Mrs. Edwin Jones. She also picked cotton. I always remember that my mother wanted the best for me, and she wanted us to have an education. And my daddy, he always encouraged me, and he told me, Bessie, you can do whatever you want to in life. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and you cannot do.
Wow, Bessie, it's so nice to hear about your family and how your mom and dad supported you, especially with your love of learning. When did you become interested in becoming a pilot?
Well, at the age of 23, I knew it was something I wanted to do in life, but I just didn't know what. It was nothing wrong with being a domestic housekeeper, but I knew I could do other things. So I went to Chicago. I took the train and I stayed with my brother Walter and Johnny. But I was determined to get me a job. I went to Madam Walker's School of Beauty Culture, and I learned how to do my hair and nails, and I got a job at the White Sox beauty shop. Well, I had been in Chicago about 5 years, and my whole family came up, and World War I started. So my brothers were drafted to the war, and I just prayed every day that they would come home safe. And when they did, that old Johnny, we always argue, he started teasing me about the women over there in Paris. He said, Bessie, 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 you ought to see the women there. They not just doing nails and stuff. They got careers. He said, they flying airplanes. I said, airplanes? I knew that moment in time, I wanted to be an aviatrix. I wanted to learn how to fly airplanes.
I love hearing about your curiosity and how you got motivated to learn how to fly. So what steps do you take to become a pilot?
Well, the first thing I had to do was go back to school. I went to all the aviation schools in the city. And everywhere I went, don't you realize that you're a woman, you're African American, Black people don't have no intellect to learn how to fly airplanes. You need to go home and have some babies, take care of a man. Everywhere I went. And so my mentor, Mr. Abbott, he said, well, Bessie, why don't you go over to Paris where you can learn and go to school there? And so that's just what I did. And in 1921, I, Bessie Coleman, became the first African American, Native American woman to receive her international pilot license in the world.
That is amazing. And what did you do after you got your pilot's license?
Well, I toured the whole country. I went to the Netherlands with William Faulkner. He's the one who designed airplanes. I not only wanted to learn how to fly airplanes, I wanted to know how did they operate? How did they work? And I love France. I used to have lunch with Josephine Baker and the boxer, Joe Louis. We had so much fun over there. But I miss my family. So what I decided was I wanted to open up an aviation school in the United States for my people. So I started to do barnstorming. And barnstorming was a form of entertainment that pilots would do, and they would gain money for it. So I did my first air show on Long Island. Oh, I dazzled the crowd with my loop-de-loops and my tail spins and my banking. My show represented hope and encouragement for the African American people to let you know that you can do whatever you want to in life. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and you cannot do.
And I heard that these shows that you performed were really popular, but that you would not perform them to groups that were segregated. Is that
Oh
correct?
no, I did not. I didn't believe in that. If you wanted to come see old brave Bessie, you had to come in the same door, the whites and the blacks. But because of those stupid Jim Crow laws, everything was separate. And I meant to tell you, I got my license 2 years before Amelia Earhart. But because Bessie was black and everything and a woman, I'm not into history books or anything like that. But doors are opening up and people are remembering what I did in the field of aviation. In 1930, William J. Powell opened up the Bessie Coleman Aerial School. And out of that school, we had black pilots flying airplanes. We had James Banning and Cornelius Coffey and Willa Brown and Thomas Allen and Harold Hurd and all these wonderful black pilots, even the Tuskegee Airmen. What can I say? It took a woman to get these men flying in the air.
That is very true. It's been such a treat listening to you today, Miss Bessie. I love hearing how your curiosity, motivation, and drive helped you achieve your dream, but it's also wonderful to hear how you want to give back and support others who also want to take to the skies. Your story is inspiring not just for me, but for others out there.
Thank you so much, Miss Rock. I just want to say, I'm just so happy. I traveled all over and I got all these medals and things. If you can see them from Paris and France, all the places I've been. I was inducted into the National Aviation Hall of Fame in 2006. And then in 2008, I was inducted to the National Aviation Hall of Fame for my wing walk. I walked on the outside of the airplane and for my parachute jumps, and I got so many different medals. I got the Medal of the City of Paris, France, and everywhere. It's just wonderful how people remembered me. People remembered what I tried to do and my contribution in the field of aviation.
That is so great. And I know now why they call you Brave Bessie. Now, Miss Bessie, I know you need to get back to the skies, but is there anything else that you want to share with the families out there?
I just want to say, don't take no for an answer, because every no will bring you closer to a yes, as people have always said. Like my grandmother said, you can't make a mule out of a racehorse. And if you stay a mule, you'll never win your race. Don't be a follower, young people. Be a leader. We're depending on you. You are our future. The baby boomers, they're retiring from these jobs in aviation, and we need you to step up to the plate and make something of yourselves, not just for yourself, but for your parents and your kids and their kids.
Au revoir. Thank you, Miss Coleman.
The sky is calling me. Au revoir. Au revoir.